All right, guys, so I'm going to do a 5-minute. It's cold weather day here in Florida, and unfortunately, it's kind of a sad story. So a company that sells a consumer service has a customer come to them, and they actually sign some paperwork, and on page 2 of the paperwork are some terms and conditions, a few, not that many, but a few things, and the customer signs, and the paperwork is in the name of the company, but not the actual company name, like the Inc. or the LLC, but the DBA, like the doing business as name. And so, long story short, the customer gets upset. In fact, they said he was really, really difficult to work with. He was always yelling at everybody. And our owner of the company was on vacation and he was traveling a lot, and his team didn't really know what was going on. And they didn't know how to deal with this customer. And the customer ends up suing them for about $1,500. And so in Florida, we have 3 levels of courts. When you're suing someone over money, right? So it's not criminal court, it's not probate court, it's not family court, it's not dependency or children's court. It is going to be what we just call the civil court service, which is where generally we're suing over money. This is where people have a fight over a contract. A lot of times you're mad at a vendor or mad at a contractor or whatever. And so sure enough, we've got these 3 levels. From 0 to 5,000, that's going to be small claims. From 5,000 to 50,000, that's going to be county court. And for 50,000 plus or anything in equity is going to be what we call circuit court. So these are the 3 levels of court, right? And as we go from little to big, at the little side, it's meant to be easy. It's meant to be fast. It's meant to be something that you can do pro se, which means without a lawyer, because lawyers can easily cost thousands and thousands of dollars. In fact, most good lawyers to start a lawsuit might be asking for $5,000, $7,500, or $10,000 retainers just to get started. And that's not a cap. That's just an hourly deposit on future lawyer time. And lawyers these days, this is 2025, are billing somewhere between $306 or $700 an hour. That's, the inflation and everything is real. So if you're going to sue someone for $2,000 or for $1,500, you don't want to pay a $5,000 retainer most of the time. And I'll talk about that in a second. So sure enough, my guy's company gets sued. Now, here's another thing that happened. He had a real company, and then he actually had the DBA, or the fictitious business name, registered. That's an actual separate registration. So you register your company, that's first. And then if you want to do business under a different name, so I might just use ABCXYZ Incorporated as my company, but then I want to be doing business as whatever it is that is more clever or more consumer appealing or whatever. That's a separate registration. So in our situation, our guy had actually both of them. But then he had actually changed addresses halfway through the year. And what you're supposed to do when you change addresses is you're supposed to actually update the address with the state. Well, he doesn't do that. A lot of times people will just I'll wait till next year when I do my annual filing. Well, unfortunately, in between, he gets sued, and they keep trying to serve him at the old address. Well, admittedly, he's no longer there, but he forgot to update it. So they eventually he gets notice of it, but he never actually gets served because he never updates his address with the state of Florida. So now the lawsuit's going, he goes pro se, he gets into a fight with the judge at the trial. The judge tells him he's not allowed to talk anymore, and the judge finds in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant loses. And by the way, once you lose, there's a judgment, and you're no longer plaintiff and defendant. Now you are judgment creditor and judgment debtor. It's no longer, did you do it? Now it's, here's how much you owe, and they can go after your bank accounts. They can go after your real estate. They can go after your assets. In fact, in this case, they actually are trying to seize his golf cart because they found out he had a golf cart. And so in any case, now he's lost. So he does a 1-page piece of paper. He literally writes appeal and files it with the court, but he doesn't ever talk to a lawyer. So that appeal is meaningless. And now it's 6 months later. So now he's missed the deadline to actually file his appeal. So let's take a big step back. He comes to me now, what do you do? And I said, sir, it's $1,500. With all due respect, no lawyer worth his salt is going to take your case for less than $5,000, which as a businessman doesn't make any sense. So here's what I would do. I would pay the $1,500, and then I would have a business lawyer on retainer to update your contract, make those terms and conditions on page 2 that the guy signed, make them better, make sure there's an attorney's fee clause so that if you do need to hire a lawyer, it's like, yes, you're only being sued for $1,500, but when you win, you'll get all your attorney's fees paid back. So now my $5,000 retainer doesn't sound so unreasonable. So here's the moral of the story. If you're a business owner, you need to have a lawyer that you can at least call to say, hey, I got a question, such as, hey, I think I just got sued. What should I do? And more importantly, improve your contracts and improve your processes and hopefully stay out of trouble in the first place. If you guys got any comments or any questions or if anything resonates, please reach out to me or leave a comment below. Thanks.